whatever. You want to be sure you're talking to people in that right department. Now, the people in the collections department can actually also be quite helpful to you because they have quite a bit of power, but they're also preoccupied with getting you to make some kind of payment. So everything they say to you is jaded along those lines. But I make one phone call per week to the right department. So you want to be sure that you're talking to the right people. And then I never just ask for an update on the file. I request information and I provide information that requires them to open the file and to make an entry. For example, I never want to call in and just say, can you tell me if my file looks complete? Rather, I'll call in and ask for a specific item. You know, I'll look back in the records and I'll say, like, my 4506T signed on May 13th. Can you see if that item is in the file? And then they'll go through the file looking. Yes, I see it is there. So ask for very specific things that require that they open your file and that they then record and exchange with you on that topic. Now, once the file is over 30 days old, I start phoning to update personal budget information like bank statements and pay stubs and that 4506T tax form. Who knows why, but a lot of the banks require that monthly you update that crazy form. It doesn't say that it expires. I can't believe that it would expire, but some banks ask for it. So what I do then is I ask them to please look through with me to see what forms are needed. You know, and if it's been over 30 days, then I, have that dialogue with them, and I say, okay, I'm going to be sending in my pay stubs, my bank statements, or whatever is needed. All right, so that's the once a week call. Make it meaningful, make sure it's with the right department, and you always write down, of course, the name of the person that you're talking with and how the exchange went. Then the second thing I do is once a week I fax to them, and I always tie it to that phone call. So you don't simply fax in for an update. What you do is you tie the fax to the phone call. So you write specifically, you fax to the person that you talked with, and you supply the information that you said you were going to, or you ask a further question based on what you learned on the phone call. So you always tie it together. Now, I don't get real good response in terms of voice responses or fax responses that give me an indication that they are similarly tying the two together, but I think it's important to do later when you do have problems and you show that you have, a trail of phone calls and faxes that show that in good faith you were working with them toward a resolution, particularly if you have to escalate this beyond their department. For instance, if you escalate it to the CEO, that can be kind of embarrassing to the loss mitigation team. If they see that you have 12 faxes, 12 voicemails where you very methodically made sure everything was on time and updated, and still they did not come back with the right answer. It can be embarrassing when you escalate it to the CEO, and it can be really embarrassing when you escalate it to the press. If yours is one of those that has to go all the way to the press, I consider the press the ultimate escalation weapon. All right, so once a week I fax to them, and then once a month I use a qualified written request. Now, those of you who have been with us for a while know that the qualified written request, the QWR, is a communication device that was provided for us by virtue of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, Section 6, and it guarantees a certain method for communicating between lender and borrower. And actually it was a godsend, because in the go-go days of 2002 to 2007, when mortgages were being securitized and sold and resold and repackaged and turned into every other thing under the sun, we really kind of lost track of exactly who our investor was, who our lender was, and this QWR process gives us a legal right to speak to the investor, the servicer of our loan in a formal way. So what the QWR guarantees is that the lender will within 20 days respond to your request, and within 60 days give you a formal, thorough response to your request. You have to submit a written request, and you have to submit a clear question that is within the realm of, discussion between borrower and lender. You can't ask about, the spacing of the stars or how many galaxies there are now, or etc. So what I do is once a month I submit a qualified written request on my file. My own personal practice is to submit one immediately with the loan application, and then each month. And these qualified written requests should ask for things like ask for a payment history, ask for a copy of the note. These are things that they should be able to provide to you and that they will provide to you. And another thing is I ask for the name of my investor who actually owns this loan. So those are 3 qualified written requests right there. There's 3 months worth of requests right there. And the beauty of the qualified written request is, again, it establishes rapport. It establishes that dialogue between you and the lender. And upon review, any loss mitigation officer, any negotiator, and certainly any supervisor or vice president of that division is going to be, kind of at a loss to explain why they didn't handle your file better when there's this good track record of dialogue going on between, generated on your part. So that's another really smart thing that I do. And then lastly, I just want to counsel all of you that in fact, as I've said in a number of articles, rejection has become commonplace. In fact, a full 50% of the successful workout solutions that we do previously had been rejected. So if you're getting rejected on a short sale application, if you're getting rejected on loan modification application, I consider that good news, because you're up toward the front of the line now, in the backwater there where things are really happening. It's tumultuous and a lot of people are getting rejected, but also a lot of people are getting accepted. So to me it's good news, and you need to just fire the afterburners and get back in there and get back in the fight.